Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay, let's look at the next one, guys. E62. Kevin Farley, an auditor with Cowles CPA, is performing a review of Knight Company's inventory account. Knight did not have a good year, and top management's under pressure to boost reported income. According to its records, the inventory balance at year end was $740,000. However, the following information was not considered when determining that amount. So I'm just going to go in here and start with $740,000. And we'll move back. The first one, included in the company's count were goods with a cost of $228,000 that the company is holding on consignment. The goods belong to Mather. Problem?
Yeah.
Why is that a problem?
They're trying to boost the income.
So we need to take away,
Consignment goods.
subtract goods held on consignment, and that was $228. Okay, next one. The physical count did not include goods purchased by Knight with a cost of $40,000 that were shipped FOB shipping point on December 28th but did not arrive until January 3rd.
At 40.
Do we need to include that?
Yes.
Yes, 40,000 we need to include. Add goods purchased FOB shipping. And how much were those?
40.
Next, included in the inventory account was $17,000 of office supplies that were stored in the warehouse and were to be used by the company's supervisors and managers during the coming year.
Not even be part of that. Shouldn't that be supplies expense?
A supplies
Or supplies
asset.
inventory.
Yes, a supplies inventory. So we need to subtract out from here supplies. That's not part of inventory. So this is less supplies inventory to be used. Remember, inventory like this is only to be sold. This is really a supplies asset that's going to be used up within the company.
Okay, that.
Next, we've got the company received an order on December 29th that was boxed and sitting on the loading dock awaiting pickup on December 31st. The shipper picked up the goods on January 1st and delivered them on January 6th. The shipping terms were FOB shipping point. The goods had a selling price of $40,000 and a cost of $29,000. The goods were not included in the count because they were sitting on the dock.
Add 29 grand.
You got to add it because it wasn't shipped until January 2nd or 1st. So we need to add back $29,000, add goods to be shipped January 1st, $29,000, because they weren't shipped. On December 29th, Knight shipped goods with a selling price of $80,000 and a cost of $50,000 to Houchin Sale Corp. FOB shipping point. The goods arrived on January 3rd. Houchin Sales had only ordered goods with a selling price of $10 and a cost of $6. However, a sales manager at Knight had authorized the shipment and said that if Houchins wanted to ship the goods back next week, it could.
It seems suspicious.
You think? So technically, what really should have been recorded, if they only,
10 instead of 80.
or those are the selling price, but 6 instead of 50.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So we really need to add back
44.
$44,000. goods shipped but not authorized. You know what I'm saying?
Now your company's gonna be looking for an OCDA firm here pretty soon, once we give them the report back, right?
Yeah, really. Next. Included in the count was 50,000 of goods that were parts for a machine that the company no longer made. Given the high-tech nature of Knight's products, it's unlikely that these obsolete parts have any other use. However, management would prefer to keep them on the books at cost, since that's what we paid for them. If something's obsolete, what do you have to do with it? You have to get rid of it. So it's not going to be sold. So we need to subtract less obsolete of 50,000.
That 44 grand,
Yeah?
would that be a minus instead of a plus?
No, because they shipped them, so they
Oh, they
took-
recorded them, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
They took them.
That's what's gonna be returned.
They took them out of their inventory. Okay? They sold
Okay.
them.
Yeah, I was just thinking of it backwards. Okay.
Yeah, believe me, I do
I
that
was
all the
thinking of
time.
like, we're taking 44,000 off that shouldn't have been on there, but.
But, okay,
Yeah.
so think about it. They wanted to show bigger sales,
Mhm.
but they really didn't sell those. They were trying to inflate the
Yeah.
numbers. So even though they got rid of all that product, they shouldn't
Yeah,
have.
they gotta put it back into it.
Yeah. So instead of their inventory balance being 740,000, the new balance should be 558. Do you guys get that? Kinda? Okay, no?
Joe,
Yes.
Joe, what do you think? You got it?
Wouldn't that be better though, if they had the 558?
Well, because in their cost of goods sold, because if they're doing like profit, then they'd have less cost of goods sold, so seemingly more.
Well,
But then we took off sales
We-
though, because we
yeah.
had to take off.
Oh, yeah, okay.
basically, a lot of times companies want to show big inventory so they can borrow money on it. So they show they
Oh,
have
yeah,
big
they were-
assets.
That's right.
They
yeah,
were
they're
looking
trying
at the
to-
bank. They
Okay,
were going
yeah,
to the
so you
bank.
want your,
Okay.
so that boosts your assets,
Mhm.
which makes your
Mhm.
debt to.
Yeah, so we just took off 200,000 in there.
Another one. What I'd like to do is go back here to these brief exercises and let's look at 6.2. So we can calculate the differences between various types of inventory methods. In its first month of operations, Giffen Company made 3 purchases of merchandise in the following sequences: 300 units at $6, 400 units at $8, and 500 units at $9. So I'm going to put this in real quick, okay? 300 units at what? 6. And what was the next one? 400 units at 8?
Yep.
And then 500 units? No, 600 units at 9. Right? Let me just make sure what I said was right. 300 units at 6, 400 units at 8, and 500 units at 9. Assuming there are 200 units on hand at the end of the period, compute the cost of the ending inventory under FIFO, LIFO, and LIFO. So basically, what we're going to do is determine 200 units on hand, 200 units in ending inventory. So can you see what I've done here right now is I've taken the purchases and I've shown 300 units at 6 gives me $1,800. 400 units at 8 is $3,200. 600 units at 9 is $5,400. Now, if our 200 units are an ending inventory, that means how many units did we sell?
1,100.
1,100. Because if we add everything available we had 1,300 units available, right? 1,300 units available, and the total of those units, $10,400. Does that make sense? So if 200 units are remaining in ending inventory, let's start with the FIFO method. FIFO means what? First in, first out, which means these 200 units would be part of the 600 units, wouldn't it? So the ending inventory would be 200 units at $9 a unit, or $1,800. The difference, the cost of goods sold, would be the difference. It would be the 10,400 minus the 1,800, or 8,600. That make sense? Now, if we chose to do last in, first out, then what we're going to do is our ending inventory isn't at $9 a unit, is it?
6.
It's going to be at the cheapest price, the first price. So that's at $6 or $1,200. Okay? And that means our cost of goods sold would be the difference between our 10,400 minus our 1,200, or 9,200. Do you see that under LIFO, our cost of goods sold is greater than under FIFO, which results in a lower net income? And as a result, FIFO's ending inventory on the balance sheet is going to show higher than what we show for LIFO. The inventory is going to be lower. Any questions on that? Is that making sense? Okay. Let's look at average cost method. Let's use this information, and instead of FIFO, LIFO, we're going to determine average cost method. Now, I'm going to tell you something. On your quiz, I'm going to give you a problem like this, and you'll have to determine the cost of goods sold in ending inventory under these three methods. It's just like I'm doing here, okay? So under average cost method, do you see how we have 1,300 units available? And the cost is 10,400? Average cost method would be, we would take the 10,400 divided by 1,300 units, or we would average, actually I should probably decimals. So let me try that again. Equals this divided by 1,300, well, $8 a unit. Oh, well,
Convenient.
very nice. So, how many units were in ending inventory? 200 units. So the way we would calculate the ending inventory would be 200 units at $8 a unit, or that would equal $1,600. And then our cost of goods sold would be our 1,100 units at $8 a unit, right? Or we could take the difference. So we could take the 10,400 minus our 1,600, which would give us an average cost of 80. Our cost of goods sold of 10,400 minus 1,600, that would be 8,800. And as you can see, that 8,800 average cost Do you see how that average cost of 8,800 is between these two, FIFO and LIFO?